with FP Santangelo.
A three-run shot, and the Giants lead 4-1.
On KNBR 104.5 and 680. Sports leader.
All right, Frank Paul here in the downtown studios. Giants lose. Well, if you told me they would have scored 8 runs on 12 hits before the game, I would have said, all right, I'm in. They haven't been swinging the bats. It's been hard to watch. They had a meeting after yesterday's game, like, let's be more aggressive. They were tonight. Lamont Wade Jr. homers on the first pitch of the game, and they lose 11-8. Giants go to 70-69. They're one game over 500. 808 KNBR is the number. A few things. I'm going to set the show, then take your calls, because we got a commercial break to get to after the Giants postgame show from the ballpark. My phone was blowing up tonight with ex-Giants texting me throughout the game. I'm not going to tell you they were, but it was a number of them. And the word that was used a lot in these text messages was embarrassing. So I know we all have our bad nights, and trust me, all of us as ex-players have had rough nights. We have. And when you make errors and misplays in front of a lot of people in a big crowd, there's nothing worse. But like the night that they finally get the bats going, the night that they hit home runs, Lamont Wade Jr. announced his presence with authority in the very first pitch of the game. Yaz went deep. JD went deep. Wilmer hit his 21st. 4 home runs hit by the Giants. Yeah, the wind was blowing out, and it was one of those nights where you have to take advantage in Wrigley Field, but sometimes it's not as easy as you think with the wind blowing out. You swing easy when it's breezy kind of a thing, and they did tonight. But there was just a lot of miscues in the game. The biggest one to me was Jock Peterson and left. There was a few plays that he could have made, was not even close on a dive. It was a circus on a fly ball. I don't like to be critical, but they want another bat in the lineup, and I don't see him shagging a lot. I don't know how much he left field he practices, and it looked like it tonight. So I don't want to be too critical, but for a guy that, is making that kind of money, if you ask him to play shortstop, he should be ready to play shortstop on a daily basis. He should, even though he's left-handed. I don't care. When you're making $19 million a year and the manager says play left field, because we were in a debate here, like, is it Gabe's fault for putting him out there? No. You have a certain responsibility as a professional on a given night to do whatever when you're making that kind of money. And that's a fact. And if it's me being critical, I mean, I busted my ass every day in batting practice, shagged at all 3 outfield positions, took ground balls in the infield every single day just in case all of a sudden I walked to the ballpark and they said, you're playing this position today. And I was ready for it every single day. So, in a nutshell, there's a point I want to make. I'm kind of salty tonight, and I'm going to try to stay positive. Because you guys always know I see the sunny, I walk on the sunny side of the street, and I try to stay positive. But that was maybe the toughest loss of the year. Because you finally got the offense you wanted, and the defense, I mean, I've never seen Brandon Crawford throw a ball that far to that was Steve Sachs like. I know he probably didn't get a grip on it or whatever, but the way they played tonight was hard to watch. And when you're talking about crunch time and against a team that's right in front of them, or now it's not right in front of them, I don't even know where they're at in the wild card now. Every other team won tonight. They got the Padres hot. The Padres are winning 7-0 in the 8th right now against the Phillies, so the Phillies aren't winning, but that doesn't matter. Padres about to win their 4th in a row. And they're not done yet, by the way. There's a little point I want to make before I get to the phones. I figure we have a short time together. I'm here till 10 tonight, so we have an hour and a half together, but plenty of time for us to talk like we do every night. And it's your forum to vent. I always say that. There was a small observation I made tonight, and it's a big one to me. As a major league player, it takes zero ability to run hard to first base 4 times a night, to bust your ass to first. Blake Sabol didn't have that opportunity tonight because he didn't sit on a changeup and couldn't recognize one, and whatever. I've had those nights too. But every time he hits a ball on the ground, he busts his ass to first base. If you watch the Cubs players tonight, whether it was Nico Horner beating out a routine ball to J.D. Davis, whether it was Yan Gomes, who's not the fastest guy in the world, bust every single Cub, whether it was a turn on a base hit, whether it was a ground ball in the infield, ran as hard as they could to first base tonight. Well, what does that mean? Well, A, it takes no ability, no talent, just a mindset. But B, if I'm on the other side and I see a team like that, and every single guy, not just 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, but every single guy to a man is going hard 90. They're busting their ass to first base. That tells me they're ready to play baseball. It sends a message to the other side that we're ready to play and we're going to play hard. Even on a ground out to short, I'm going to bust it to first, and it just shows that we're ready to play and we're playing hard. I've seen times this year where guys don't even like put their bat down for the Giants and they don't even make it to first. And so when you're talking about 162 games, I don't care if you play 162 games. Like I played 142 in the minor leagues. I ran hard to first base every single game, every single at bat. Most of the time it was because I was pissed off and frustrated. I want to take it out on just running hard to first. It's 90 feet. It's really not that difficult. And when I watched the Cubs do this tonight, whether it was Dansby Swanson, Nico Horner, Yan Gomes, Suzuki, Candelario, with these big turns at first base, looking for a bobble, ready for the bobble when Austin Slater bobbled it. Like, that's how you approach the game on a daily basis. There's so many things in baseball you can't control. I can't control the ball when it leaves the barrel of my bat. Like the greatest defenders in the world might make a diving play. I can't control what happens after I let go of a pitch. You know, the greatest hitters in the world, they might barrel something up. The one thing I can control on a daily basis is my attitude and my effort. And so when I'm getting paid a lot of money and I'm playing in front of a lot of people, check the tape. I busted my ass on a comebacker, whatever, to first base my whole career. And it was more like just showing that you're ready to play, showing that I'm here to send a message. This load management stuff and conservation and run hard, you don't pick your spots when you run hard. You don't run hard to first base when you're 8 for your last 10 because you're feeling frisky. You run hard to first base when you're 0 for your last 10 or 1 for your last 20. And it's I probably sound old saying this right now, but it takes zero effort to do that. It's about an attitude. And when I watch the Cubs, and I know they're playing well, and I know they're hitting the ball well, I mean, David Ross, their manager, demands that. He played hard his whole career. Rossi always played hard. He was a dirtbag. He was a backup catcher that won the hearts of the fans in Chicago when they won the World Series for the first time in 108 years. And got standing ovations on his retirement tour every single day at Wrigley, and I was there for one of them, and it was emotional. But to watch the way these guys did that tonight fired me up. It really fired me up. And there's certain guys for the Giants that do it all the time, and you guys know who they are, and there's certain guys that don't. And I don't think it should be an either-or thing. And I know I'm definitely sounding old, like the old guy that's on the radio at night that played back in the 90s. But I don't think that part of the game should ever change. You could have all your analytics and your positioning. You could have all your stats for everything. You could have launch angle, exit velocity, WAR, all kinds of numbers. That's fine. That's the way the game's evolved. The one thing that should never, ever change in the game of baseball is me busting my ass every single night. I always thought the fans are paying good money to see me play. And if I go 0 for 4 and hit 4 weak ground balls, damn it, the least I can do is bust my ass to first base every single time. The least I can do is break up a double play, which you can't do anymore. The least I can do is run over a catcher or dive for a ball, whatever. That's the one thing I could control on a daily basis was my effort and my attitude. I mean, if you want to take it further, like you could take that to the workplace too. Like you can play hard every day at work. You could be a good teammate every day at work. It doesn't just, it just doesn't apply to baseball. You could drive hard to work every morning. I do. I drive hard everywhere. Drive to win, baby. But that's the one thing that stood out for me. So we could sit here and break down play after play after play. We could say that was the toughest loss of the year. We could say this team's going in the tank, and all these things would be true. I'm not going to blow smoke up your ass. You guys know I don't do that. I'm not going to pile on either and say this guy should be this and this guy should be that because I know how hard the game of baseball is. But my main point that kind of got me a little salty tonight was, and fired up at the same time. I don't know what that says about me. I am talking to my therapist tomorrow at 2:30, so maybe I'll talk to him about this. I was fired up that the Cubs play hard. They really, I'm not saying the Giants don't, but like to a man, tomorrow watch them run to first base. They had an isolation of Nico Horner when JD kind of sat back on that ball and didn't know the speed of the runner, which can't happen at the major league level. I'm sorry. And he took his time and he has a cannon. Usually that'll make up for things, but Horner put his head down. It looked like Pete Rose running at first base. Yan Gomes, who I watched play for 3 years in D.C., I don't know if he ever ran that hard to first base. He always plays hard. He's married to Adley Hamaker's daughter, by the way, so there is a Giants tie there. Good dude, by the way. Brazilian. He's from Brazil. great guy, fun to be around. But I watched him run to first base tonight. So that must be like a clubhouse thing. We're like, hey, if you don't run hard, you're coming out of the game. Now, I'm not saying, but please don't take this like me getting on the Giants for not doing this. I'm not. There's a lot of guys, Tyro, the Mecklinator. There's guys that bust it every single time. Wilmer runs as hard as he can, just doesn't look like it because he's not fast, but he plays the game the right way. But I'm just saying, like, there's a certain responsibility, I think, as a major leaguer to do that, and it just sends a message to the other team that we are here to freaking play, and we're going to play hard, and we're going to fight you till the very end. All right, stay on hold. I was supposed to set the show and go to break, but I'm getting on a tangent here. Full phone lines right now. If it's busy, keep calling. I'll take your calls next on the Sports Leader.
Enjoy KNBR in FM at 104.5 FM. Now back to KNBR Tonight with FP Santangelo on the Sports Leader.
Morrell hits a drive to center. Going back on the ball, Meckler. It is gone. Christopher Morrell just crushed one to center field. And Wrigley Field erupts. It's 10-6 Cubs.
Who is this, dude? This is Johnny Cash, right? Giants lose 11-8 to the Cubs. They won the first game of the road trip, then it's been a rough one. Somebody on Twitter saying getting prepared to talk people off the ledge. I don't think a night tonight to talk you off the ledge, because when I do that, I'm seeing things. The offense was a positive tonight, right? I mean, so that's good news, but the gloves didn't show up. It wasn't just in errors. The Giants made 2 errors tonight, but it was plays that should have been made that weren't. It was just a sloppy baseball game. I watched the replay of the Patrick Bailey collision with, I believe it was Candelario at home on the Casey Schmidt backing up on the ball. That was a tough play. You got to cut Casey Schmidt some slack on that because his momentum was going into left field. Maybe throw it across to first, but I don't even think he gets off a good throw to first with his weight going back that way. So, tough play. I watched it. There wasn't a significant collision there. If you missed it, Patrick Bailey left with concussion-like syndrome. I don't know. However, he left the game, and there was not a lot of contact there, if any at all. I watched the replay on MLB.com like 4 times before I came on tonight, which leads me to believe that there was a foul tip somewhere in the game off his mask that I missed. Or yesterday. Or some cumulative thing that's going on here where he had a couple of them. And then sometimes if you have those and your head just jostles, I've had 7 concussions, I know, and amnesia and all that stuff. I've been tested for CTE and all of it. And so you can get whiplash concussions where your brain hits your skull and bruises. It doesn't always have to be contact. So I just hope he's okay. I mean, because if he's not... Anyways, let's go. I'm trying to keep it positive tonight, but it was a frustrating game, and I think for all Giants fans, it's been a frustrating stretch. And I thought that the first win in San Diego, they got the Padres hot. The Padres are up on the Phillies 8-0 in the 9th. Bryce Harper shaved his beard, too. Do you notice I shaved my beard? It's all about me. Let's go to... what do you think about it? Let's go to Rich in San Diego. Rich! You're on the Sports Leader. What's going on, Rich? Let it rip.
Hi, FB. I'm not going to be too positive, I guess. I'm sorry.
That's okay. There's not a whole lot to be other than the offense, and we had 4 home runs tonight, and that's a good sign. But, yeah, a loss is a loss, and there's no way to sugarcoat it when you're 1 game over 500. All of a sudden, you were 13 games over, and you were a game and a half out of first place, and things were looking good, and it's just been a rough ride. So go ahead. Let it rip, Rich. That's what the show's all about.
Well, you don't get to interview Farhan, but I get really pissed off at Tolbert and Copes, who never ask tough, challenging questions to him. Here they are. Farhan, how would you rate the free agents you decided to pick up? Henniger, Conforto, Jackson, Stripling, Manaea. You can pick good players? You know how to evaluate players? Second, you said that there'd be, at the beginning of the year, you said you watch all this power. We'll have a lot of guys hitting 30 home runs. Well, they're not. Can you evaluate players? 3, the Padres decided to add at the trade deadline. They were 8 games below 500. We didn't add anyone. Did you say that you knew that this team was lousy and therefore didn't want to use up the farm system? Another one. How about you said the defense will be much improved this year? Is it really? Another one. The Padres and Dodgers both have made massive trades during the last 5 years while you've been here, trading away a lot of their farm system. The Padres farm system is rated right at and near ours. The Dodgers are way ahead of ours. You guys can really draft and evaluate players and so on good? How about those questions, FP?
Well, Rich, maybe you should call in, and when Tolbert and Copes are on, I'll let you ask those questions. I think they're all fair.
They never tell the audience you can ask questions.
I'm not criticizing anybody else I work with. I think those guys do a great job. So it's just it's a positive, fun segment that they do with them. But I think it would be interesting. I don't know if Farhan would be open to it, but to open up the phone lines to Giants fans and take some questions. I don't think those were outrageous. Or I think as a fan, you have your questions, and and maybe they should be answered.
I think the 107-win season really set the whole organization back a lot, too. It's almost too bad that we had that one great season, which I think really set the whole farm system and everything, player evaluations and so on back.
Well, how so, Rich? You thought like that maybe they thought they had it all figured out, or like what do you mean by that?
Well, like for instance, signing Crawford to contracts, long contracts, and Discofani and Wood and so on and so forth because of just their performance that year and so on. And maybe they didn't go really after anyone in the free agent market then either. The guy I really wanted to go after, really wanted him, and that would have made a big difference to our team, was Freeman. He was available. They should have really gone after him. They said, we got Brendan, Belton, Wade. Come on, Freeman's miles over them. You know, the 107th season destroyed the evaluation of our farm and everything, and our players and development of the whole system.
Rich, what do you like about the Giants?
Well, I wish they had more fight, like you were talking about the Cubs having fight. I think that's what lacks a lot. You do see some of the players. I forget who it was today. I saw someone running towards first base, and they really, maybe it was Crawford, but they really didn't seem like they were running as hard as the Cubs do. I know some of the guys do. What do I like about them? I like some of the young players, although I also wonder why when other teams bring up minor league players, almost always they'll have one really superstar right away. Maybe Bailey's that superstar, but he has 6 pass balls and 9 errors. I'm not sure if he's really a superstar yet, but usually
Patrick Bailey has 6 pass balls and 9 errors.
Yeah, you check it. That's fact.
I think you got Blake Sable mixed up with Patrick Bailey.
No. You check. You
All
go
right.
on.
Hey, did you go to the games in San Diego, Rich? Since you're from San Diego this weekend?
I went to the game Sunday, expecting what happened. That I thought that if you go back to the history of no-hitters and very close, I mean, essentially Cobb had almost really pitched a no-hitter. It could have been a no-hitter. But if you go back to pitchers that pitched no-hitters, it goes way back to even Koufax, who once pitched a no-hitter against the Giants. Then the next week they bombed him. Typically after no-hitter, by and large, like 75% of the time, the pitcher would pitch really lousy, which is what I was expecting. What happened?
Probably, I would say it's more mental fatigue than physical fatigue, even though he threw 131 pitches in the near no-hitter. But you're grinding every single pitch. Rich, thanks for the call, man. I appreciate the passion.
Okay, FP. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Let's go to Dave in Martinez. Dave, you're on KNBR. What's going on?
Hey, FP. Driving home and listening to the game, I almost felt like puking. It's
as long as it's not diarrhea on a Delta flight where they have to turn around. Did you see that? They were 2 hours into the trip. They were going from Atlanta to Barcelona, and somebody crapped down the aisle, and the plane had to whip a U-turn. And the maybe we could get the sound, Jacob, in the next commercial break of the pilot saying that he had to turn around, that it was a biohazard. Somebody went diarrhea in the aisle. So at least you didn't do that, Dave.
At least thanks for the laughter. It's like the other caller, or I think you set it up at the onset. Like being on your toes, running to first base. I hear, I'm not picking on Jock, but he's the prime example. He hardly runs to first base. So like if he's DHing, he's not like, point on point, ready to jam. I think it's like a mindset, like you said, it's going to take him time to track over the ball, recognize, oh no, I took the wrong angle, or oh no, it's coming in hot. It's a mindset.
It's practice, Dave. It's getting reps during batting practice and working hard during batting. I don't know what he does. I don't ever see. I'm sure he does, but like the way outfielders get better is during batting practice, and you pick one group because it's a long season. You don't shag for 3 or 4 groups, and you work on your jumps in the outfield. And sometimes you shag like 4, for 2 hitters in a row, and you work on your routes, and you get to like the elements and what's going on in the day with the wind, and how the ball's carrying in a certain ballpark. And then maybe for one group, you stand there and it's all you do is first step quickness. So say I'm playing center and the ball's hit to left. I just do a jab step real quick to left field and work on my first step. And if it's to right field or whatever, I jab step real quick. And I'm just doing one step. So I'm not really exerting energy, but I'm reading the ball off the bat mentally and then getting the jump physically. And just one step is all you do for maybe the second group. And then, then you're ready. Then now you put the hay in the barn, and when it's the first ball that's hit to you is in the bottom of the 8th with 2 guys on and it's in the gap, you get that jump that you practiced at 4:30, and then you run down that ball in the gap and you make the catch and you save the game on your first try 5 hours later. But that's what it's all. That's what practicing being good on defense does. And for the most part, I get there early and I watch these guys. They do work hard on their defense.
Yeah. I just wish, Sable was in left to start just because, he's more athletic. I mean, Jock's been kind of like a weevil wobble.
Well, the Giants, Dave, since I've been here, go for getting as many bats in the lineup as they can, and the defensive part is not really the important part. It's how many bats we can get in the lineup, and it doesn't really matter where you stand on defense.
I'd rather prevent runs than catch up.
All right, Dave, I'm going to take a quick break. I appreciate it. 808 KNBR is the number at the top of the hour. I see all you guys on hold. Text lines loaded. Phone lines are loaded. Keep trying if you want to jump in. Giants lose at 11-8 to the Cubs. They swung the bats, 8 runs on 12 hits, but they didn't. We can talk about the opener and how that might be taking its toll next on the Sports Leader.
Download the all-new KNBR app. Now, KNBR Tonight with FP Santangelo continues live from the KNBR Casino Matrix Studio. Casino Matrix progressive jackpots are here. Where are you? Just drop in. Please play responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
Negative. It's just a biohazard issue. We've had a passenger who had diarrhea all the way through the airplane, so they want us to come back to Atlanta. Negative.
Dude, that sounded like Farhan. It did. I'm sorry. That was the pilot on the plane. It did. It really did. I don't know how I'm laughing tonight. This is like the most pissed I've been on a show since I've been back. I'm trying to like lighten the mood a little bit. But like they had to lead twice tonight. They finally had some hitting. The bullpen is gassed. Tyler Rogers is gassed. Taylor Rogers is gassed. The opener thing that everybody was scared of coming back to haunt you kind of did tonight. I know the wind was blowing out as Wrigley is one of those games, but it's all just nothing's going right. Darn it. I mean, when they won 10 in a row and it was, what was it, early July 13th or something, and they were a game and a half out and they were the number one wild card team. And I said, you can believe in this team. I don't know that I've ever seen a team just do a 180 like this, especially offensively. Like everybody go cold. And so here's my thing, and here comes rant number 2 tonight. Is when they didn't do it as much tonight. So one night, wind blowing out, they did a nice job. But for me, it's a mindset for a hitter when you have 2 strikes to battle. And I see a lot of called third strikes on very hittable pitches. And it's hard. Trust me, that's the hardest game in the world. I know this. Very hard game. It's very hard to hit a baseball. But we used to yell things from the dugout, like, fight him, Marvin, when he got to 2 strikes. Or Richie's up there like, fight. And we would say fight, like, fight him. Hey, let's fight right now. Here we go, a little fight. And that was just kind of like a little chirp from the dugout to your buddy to like stick your nose, for lack of a better word, in the dirt and not let the guy beat you, like fight him with 2 strikes. When you got to 2 strikes, all right, we're fighting. I'm going to stick my nose in there. I'm going to battle your ass and we're going to fight. Before that, maybe you're swinging out of your ass and you're trying to do damage. But when you got to 2 strikes, now the fight was on. We're going toe to toe. I'm looking you in the eye and you ain't beating me. And that's what I would love to see more. And that's just a mindset. And that might be league-wide, not a team thing. Just the way guys go about it. Let's go to Mike in Eugene. Mike, what's going on? You're on KNBR. How you doing tonight?
Hey, FP, how are you, man?
I'm doing okay. I'm doing fine. It's just a game. I always say that, but it's getting late. So, like, all these, like, when I would blow off these losses early in the year with all you guys and I would try to talk you off the ledge, I mean, it's September. Like, it's for lack of a better term, it's crap or get off the pod or maybe crap or get off the plane at this time.
Oh, that's funny. No, here's the thing, FP. We talked about it before. This is deja vu baseball. They're playing like they did in the beginning of the year. They had home runs, but their defense stunk. They were having problems with the starter role, like we talked about. All this is who they are. I don't think this team's going to do any better this year. And it's sad. I wanted to rejoice and say, hey, they got 4 home runs, but you know what? They've had 4 home runs before, and they've lost games too. So, this goes back to, like you said, the mindset, and we talk about this almost every month. Go to count. What are they going to do? And I get so depressed every time I hear one of you guys call, well, that was a call, strike 3. And it's just, it's just no excuse at that point. In fact, so I thought I'd just say is I'd ask you one question.
Okay.
Where's Bosa?
Dude, sign Nick Bosa, and I'm going to say that the rest of the show. No matter what we're talking about, I'm just going to go sign Nick Bosa. Every single call the rest of the night, sign Nick Bosa.
Absolutely. I don't know. I hear it's over $4 million. Are you kidding me? $4 million? Pay the man. Let's move on. We got a game to play on Sunday, and we don't want to be in the hole.
See, I make that a show here at KNBR. I'll just donate one show to get him signed. That's how much I make a show. Mike,
All right,
thanks for
well,
the call, buddy. I appreciate it.
all right.
Good stuff as usual. Yeah, Nick Bosa, sign Nick Bosa. Where we hung up. Giants are 0-8 in their last 8 games started by an opener. It says here on the 562. I don't know that for sure, but if that's the case, everybody was worried on the show. Like, is this going to take its toll? Is this going to take its toll? And, repeating, if you're just joining me, my phone was flooded with ex-Giants tonight, all texting me about what was going on. And that hasn't happened in a long time. I had 4 ex-Giants texting me nonstop throughout the course of the game about what in the world is going on. Are you kidding me? And I really don't want to repeat all of it, but it was all like, we just, like you guys, we were all baffled by what we saw tonight. And it was a tough one. It was a tough one for these guys. Let's go to Alex in San Mateo. Alex, you're on KNBR. What's going on, Alex?
Hey, Effie, how you doing today?
Doing well. How are you?
I mean, to be fair, I'm trying to be positive, but I'll be honest with you, I'm kind of happy I missed the last 2 games. We check in every single time I get a little break from studying and seeing they're up maybe once or twice, but then I see the ultimate notification that they lost, and it just kind of brings me back down to earth. It's like, this might be what we're dealing with at this point with the Giants, unfortunately. And I want to be positive, but just kind of cover a couple points. My biggest one is just, I'm sorry, I don't think Kapler is the guy. I don't think he's our skipper. I can't get behind him. Like, just the way he's been handling our prospects just throughout this entire season, and specifically the most notable one is Marco Luciano. My goodness, when a man starts his game, his first career MLB game, and you substitute him during his 3rd official at bat, I'm sorry, that just destroys this kid's confidence. It destroys all their confidence when they're constantly being shifted down between the minor leagues and the majors, and then ultimately they're getting platooned when it doesn't make sense to me. But the biggest notable ones is just what he's been doing with our starting pitching prospects. Like, my goodness, I don't get it. When you had Beck, when you have Heigel, when you have Keaton Wynn, and you have a starter for each and every one of these guys who have been starting pitchers from the very beginning since their minor league debuts. They have always started their own games. But now here they get up to the majors, and you expect them to get used to this entire new role of having, I do understand the advantages to having a starter, but it just doesn't get it to me. And I'm also want to kind of go back to your interview with Alex Cobb about a week or so ago when he almost threw his perfect game. He mentioned something that made total, complete sense to me. When you have a rotation of 5 strong guys who have swagger, confidence, and ooze that badassness that, hey, I'm a good pitcher and I want to one-up and kind of make like this friendly competition. I want to one-up this guy. This guy did good. I want to one-up him. I want to do better. I want to win games, but I want to prove that I'm better. Like, you just don't get that when you have this opener role of all these bullpen games. You tax your guys, and it just doesn't make too much sense to me, and it just destroys their confidence. The worst thing that I can think of was Beck had an amazing start against Atlanta, and he had a very shaky. I'll be honest, he had a bad start against San Diego 5 days later. But you know what? So did Cobb, so did Harrison. They've all had bad starts against a very criminally underrated and underperforming San Diego Padre team. And then the next, literally 3 days later, I see Beck is back in the bullpen position or bulk inning position. And
well, they had bad starts, Alice, because they were both extended to places they hadn't been before this year, including Alex Cobb, who's made pretty much. Well, he was on the DL for a little bit, but 131 pitches, that was a career high. Kyle Harrison, as much as we all loved his first outing, 91 pitches. He hadn't done that all year when he struck out 11 at Oracle. And then Beck too. I mean, he was extended on that Sunday night game. So, if you run a long distance, it's hard to do it again because you're sore. So if you run a marathon and you're not used to running a marathon, you're jacked up for a little bit. So that's understandable. And I've been saying all along, as a 20-something-year-old kid in your first go around the big leagues, you've played every day in the minor leagues. You don't know what it's like to play 1 out of every 4 games or to stay ready and to stay competitive. And the number one thing I'm talking about, it's just compete. Like, if the Giants hitters, just compete with 2 strikes. Like, it's a mindset. And every hitter in baseball now, I think it's just, I think it's okay with the analytics to guess with 2 strikes, and we always taught to look fastball and adjust to off speed with 2 strikes, and then fight with 2 strikes. And that maybe that's changed, and you want to do damage with 2 strikes now, and that's why you see so many pitches taken for called thirds, and the game has evolved into that. But Alex, all really good points. I appreciate the call, man.
Thank you so much.
All right, thanks for calling. Let's go to Jackpot in Vegas. Jackpot, you're on KNBR. What's going on?
Hey, I watched the game on national TV, and it was awful because, Jackson, number 77.
Let's go back to let Jackpot stay there. You sounded like you were calling from hell. Let's go, and you were the devil, or Jacob, maybe you were on that. You're on that flight. Maybe you're on that flight.
Negative. It's just a biohazard issue. We've had a passenger who had diarrhea all the way through the airplane, so they want us to come back to Atlanta.
They were 2 hours out from Atlanta to Barcelona. They had to whip a Yui, so it was a 4-hour trip. Crappy flight, right? But how do you crap in the aisle? There was on TikTok. It was all the way down the aisle. There was poop in the aisle, and they put paper towels on it. How does that even happen? I mean, how do you poop in the aisle of an airplane? What is this world coming to? Where you're crapping in the aisle of an airplane and you have to whip a Yui because you couldn't get to the bathroom. First of all, if you're flying, take your main crap at home before you go to the airport. That's flying 101. And then if for some reason you got a bad boiler, you can't take a dump on the airplane ever. That's just the worst. Unless you're flying 18 hours or something like that, and they feed you twice and there's just no room, then you could take a dump on the plane. But for the most part, 99 flights out of 100, you're not taking a dump on an airplane. But to take a dump in the aisle of an airplane and they have to whip a U-turn and it's diarrhea in the okay, that's enough. Let's go to Gil in Colorado. Gil, you're on KNBR. What's going on?
Hey, SP, how you doing? Thank you for having me on your show.
Thanks.
I've seen a lot of Giants baseball. I'm 61 years old, and the first time I started going to games, it was in 1970. I was living in San Francisco at the time, and I saw a lot of good coaches there. I saw Roger Craig. I saw Dusty, obviously, and Bruce Bochy. And what I'm seeing from this current manager is just, I'm baffled. Trust me, I'm not an expert on baseball and things like that.
What baffles you, Gil? Be specific.
Well, the roster. I mean, and you know this because you are a professional athlete. I was never. I played Little League baseball.
That's all right, but I'm a fan more. But Gil, I'm more of a fan than I'm just a washed-up has-been now. But I'm a fan, so whatever you say, you don't have to preface it with that. It's probably a good point. So go with it.
Well, it would seem that me as a player would kind of want some consistency in where I was going to be expected to hit in the lineup. And he changes this lineup every day, it seems. And so that would, to me, for an athlete that wants a lot of repetitiveness, they are the sport is as such, it's they don't like a lot of change for good reasons, and then he's not doing that, and I think that is probably going to do a lot of negative to the team in that sense. And then this whole pitching thing, it's so different from what I have seen in baseball in the past, and so I don't have an opinion to it because I've never seen anything like this. And so for me, I'm not blaming anybody that might be up too early, and I'm not blaming anybody that's hurt because, you've got guys who Haniger got hurt, and Tyro got hurt, and I couldn't even imagine what that's like coming back from those types of things right now, and they're in there playing. I think those gentlemen are doing great things, but the fact that, he's in there and, he's got these lineups, and there's just no explanation for why he has certain players. One time they're batting, 1 through 3, and then the next time they're batting 9th. And like I said, I don't really have much to speak to.
Gil, you're making good points. And there was the graphic on the broadcast tonight. The last time a Giants second baseman led the team in hits and stolen bases in back-to-back seasons was 1923 and 1924. It was Frankie Frisch for the New York Giants. Tyro Estrada led the Giants in both last season and leads them this season in both. And he hit 9th tonight. And that's one thing that I will be very critical of. I don't understand that part. I don't understand. I know the bottom of the lineup has been a black hole, and I understand. I want my best hitter to hit more times than everybody else. I want Thairo Estrada hit 5 times in a game, not maybe 4 times, hitting 9th. And there's something from a mental standpoint of a guy who I hit first a lot of my career and I hit 9th a lot of my career. When you're hitting 9th, there's a certain mental aspect that you're the worst hitter on the team. There is. The 9th place hitter is usually the worst hitter, or it's the second leadoff hitter, whatever. You're the 9th place hitter. And there's a stigma to that, and there's a mental side of that the computer doesn't spit out. So if I get up in the 3rd inning, and that's when my first at-bat is, and I'm used to jogging off the field, or if I'm on the road, I'm used to putting my batting gloves on and getting that first at-bat in the book in the 1st inning, and now I have to wait, say, 45 minutes to an hour for my first at-bat, and I'm the last hitter on the team, there's no analytic that can get into a guy's brain and says what he feels like hitting 9th. Whenever I hit 9th, and maybe this is just a me thing, and I should talk to my therapist about it tomorrow, it's like I felt like I was the worst hitter in the game. And I look over at the other 9 hitter, and he's hitting 190, and I don't understand when you have a stat like that, a guy that's leading the team in hits and stolen bases, that he's hitting 9th. Like, I want Thairo Estrada to hit 2nd, and I want him to come up a lot, and I want him to come up a lot. And I know he was hurt, and he's swinging at things out of the zone or whatever, but he's Thairo Estrada, and he's your best player, and he's hitting 9th. That part I don't get. I don't.
We're on the same page on that. And usually what's happening is that the people that are coming up before him to hit, it's usually some guy who's, just been in the league for a very short period of time. And I don't get me wrong, I mean, Brandon Crawford was very good back in the day, and I respect everything he's done, but his best times, is behind him. And so Thairo's not getting that type of support where he's at when he's put at the 9th slot. And like I said, it's just
it's a mental thing. All right, Gil, sign Nick Bosa. You got to say it on the way out. Say it.
Oh yeah, I'm a big Niner fan. Yeah, sign Nick Bosa.
Okay, sign Nick Bosa. Thank you. Every call has to end with sign Nick Bosa tonight, and I'll say it. You say it. All right. Let's go to one more and take a break, or take a break right now. All right, I'm going to take a quick break right now. Stay right there. Full phone lines. Everything's full. Keep calling. You'll get in. I'm going to get to all your calls next on the Sports Leader.
Follow KNBR on Facebook. This is KNBR Tonight with FP Santangelo on KNBR 104.5 and 680. The Sports Leader.
3-1 pitch. Suzuki blasts one to deep left field. On its way and gone. Up over the ivy, into the bleachers. Tie game.
Negative. It's just a biohazard issue.
This is Flight 494. Somebody dropped a turd in the aisle. Somebody dropped a deuce by the emergency exits. And we're going to have to whip a Yui and come back. Just sitting right there in the aisle. What was it, caddy day on the airplane?
They had diarrhea all the way through the airplane, so they want us to come back to Atlanta. They had diarrhea all the way through.
Can you imagine being on that flight? I would be so pissed. Like, seriously, I got to turn around. We're 2 hours out. We're over the Atlantic, almost to the point of no return. We got to flip a Yui because of you? Oh, my gosh. That'd be the worst thing ever. What's wrong with people? What is wrong with people? The people want to fight on airplanes. I'll go on TikTok and just search airplanes. Like, everybody wants to fight. Everybody's snapping. It's just like the airplanes are weird now. They never used to be weird. Now they're weird. It's just weird. It's all weird. I flew to San Diego this weekend and it was weird. And I flew home and it was weird. Airports are weird. Airplanes are weird. Our world is weird. People are weird. You guys are weird. 808 KNBR is the number. Oh my gosh, I got so many calls to get to. Let's go to Don in Elk Grove, or Don in San Francisco. He's been waiting a long time. Don, you're on KNBR. What's going on?
Oh my God! We had the lead in our hands. This is something not right here, FB.
Well, we had the lead twice tonight, Don. The guys finally swung the bat, and it was a great offensive night. But then, there's little mistakes that you can't make against good teams, like J.D. Davis not knowing the speed of Nico Horner and Jock Peterson, like spinning around in circles in left field. The wind wasn't blowing that hard, man. And it was blowing the whole game. Sorry, like that play has to be made. It's a big leagues.
My comment, I gotta tell you this: like they could have picked up somebody from waivers. I just envy these other teams that took those guys. We did not get nobody.
Yeah, the trade deadline. If you missed it, AJ Pollock was released. He's the guy that the Giants got in the trade deadline. I mean, it's just. It's not good right now, Don. I like to spin it positive, but tonight it's hard. It really is, because it's September 5th, and you're running out of time, and it's not like it's July 5th, and be patient. It's the body of work, and look at the big picture, and that's what I've been preaching all along. And if it's the end of September and things out where they're supposed to be, then let it rip, because everybody knows they're accountable. This is big boy sports. It's about winning, and they know it more than you guys know it, more than I know it. That at the end of the year, if it's not where it's supposed to be, then there's accountability, right? So I've been preaching all year. Wait till the end of the season. Judge them by their body of work. It's what Brian Sabian used to say all the time when he was on with Ralph Barbieri. Judge me by my body of work. So if it's October 2nd and the Giants are in the playoffs and they're below 500, then you guys can judge them by their body of work. It's heading that direction right now. The Giants are 70 and 69. They're one game over 500. And I just really don't know how you turn it around this late. Usually when things start to go south in September, it's really hard to whip a Yui. Even if people poop in the aisle, it's hard to whip a Yui. So I don't know how they do it now. I really don't.
Okay, let's go sign Bosa. That's all we got to
sign
think
Nick
about
Bosa.
Right now.
That a baby Don, you remembered. Way to go, Don. Yeah, every caller has to say sign Nick Bosa on the way out tonight. Let's go to Leon in Elk Grove. Leon in Elk Grove. You're on KNBR. What's going on, Leon?
Hey, FP, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing well. First-time caller, and
pour Leon a beer, Jacob. First-time caller.
Well, not first-time calling to you.
That's all right. First-time caller to KNBR tonight. You get a beer, courtesy of KNBR.
I'm sitting out here drinking one right now.
Yeah, it's our own KNBR brew. We brew it here right in the studios in downtown San Francisco. We scrape up stuff off the sidewalk. That's our first ingredient. Then we pour a little rainwater in there, gutter water. And then we get hops and barley from I don't know where. And then we just put it in there, and it's our KNBR brew. So drink up, Leon. It's on us.
I will do that. I was born and raised in San Francisco, so I'm 65. Been a Giants fan all my life. Got San Francisco. I got the SF tattooed on the back of my arm. Grew up watching Willie Mays, Willie McCovey, Bobby Bonds, Jim Ray Hart, and I'm an African American, and I grew up in. Tonight was my daughter's in San Diego, and she went to some softball something down there. So I'm watching her. My grandson, he's 3, and it reminded me of me growing up, listening to transistor radio, Lon Simmons, Russ Hodges on my grandmother's lap. And then we got a black and white TV, and I'm watching the Giants, and I'm seeing these players that are my color that I could dream to be a baseball player, and I held that dream all the way through college. All my kids played softball. My girls played softball through college, and tonight it just hit me because as I'm watching my grandson, I didn't even know the score, so I look up on my phone. It's 4-4, and my phone gives me alerts every time Lamont Wade has an at bat. And I saw he had a home run, so I flipped on the screen and I sat down with my grandson like I did when I was a kid. And I sat there, and he's coming up, and the next inning, and sure enough, I see a left-hander on the mound, and I said, "That's it." And he doesn't get to that at bat, and it just bothered me tonight. It just bothered me, man. I really don't know how to feel about the lack of African American ball players in baseball, period. But in the Giants organization, which has been so rich with African Americans and Latin Americans, and most of the Latin Americans that we are getting now, I mean, it seems like every other team gets someone that's going to hit 30 home runs, and they get the best of the stock. And I don't know what's happening with the Giants. And I just thought I'd give you a call tonight to just kind of voice my frustration. I have 3 pictures in my room. In my office here. One is within the last 5 years. One is with Barry Bonds, one is with Bill Madlock, and the other one is Logan Webb, who is up. I met him out here at a Sac State football game, and he's a great young guy, and I love him. But I looked at the box score. If you didn't bat leadoff for the Cubs, you got 4 at bats tonight. Batters 2 through 9 got all their at bats. I can't deal this platoon, this Giants platoon system. Yeah, it's just frustrating. But I'll be a Giants fan for life.
Leon, that's a beautiful call, man. And if you ever get a chance to meet Lamont Wade Jr., he is the best, like the nicest guy in the world.
Oh, he is. Every time I sit here, I root so hard for him. If he gets an at bat against the left-hander, I want him to do something so bad because I said, man, I'd like to see him play every day.
Well, he hit the first pitch he saw tonight into the bleachers for a home run, and that last year's first-round pick, Reggie Crawford's African American. So
I got that,
and he's on the fast track too. So that's great news.
Yeah, but and it's a great thing, and it's not really just it's just the dream that it's hard for young black kids now. They play football, they play basketball. There's really we all know the whole deal that there's such a turn away from baseball for whatever reason, and there's many reasons, but for whatever reason. But for me, I was able to have that dream because I saw I saw it right there in front of me. So when I'm sitting with my grandson, he's not going to remember because he's only 3. I was like 5, and my dad took me to Candlestick in '62. So I remember that. He's not going to remember tonight, but tonight's loss is going to stick with me for a long time, dude.
Leon, I got a pro tip for you. Okay, remember I told you this. Put a ball in your grandson's left hand. and make him be a lefty. He'll be a bazillionaire. He doesn't even have to throw hard. Just a nice, good changeup. Put the ball in his left hand, and he'll be in the big leagues in like 20 years, and we'll all come to his debut.
I got one that's 3. He's autistic, and he's the one I'm watching right now. I got one that'll be 2 on Christmas Day, and he's going to have my son is going to have it. Oh, by the way, my son's 23, and guess who his favorite player is? Willie Mays. So go figure. He's going to have twin boys. So I got 3 chances at least of a left-hander.
All right, there you go. Leon, that was an awesome call, man. Don't be a stranger to the show. I love it. That was beautiful.
I appreciate it.
Thanks, dude.
Take care.
Really good stuff, man.
Wait.
Go ahead.
I'm a Raider fan, but I'll say it. Sign Bosa.
Sign Nick Bosa. Atta baby, Leon. Atta baby. Leon was great. It's his first call to our show. That was outstanding, and that changed my mood. That was a good call. Let's go to Glenn in Woodside. Glenn, sign Nick Bosa.
Hey, FP, sign Nick Bosa.
There you go.
Hey, FP, this is Glenn. I'm going to ask you this. Who's the 5 team that you think can win a World Series this year?
The what team? The 5 teams?
Yes.
The Braves, the Dodgers, the Braves, the Dodgers, and then the Braves. Those are my 5 teams that can win the World Series this year.
How about the Phillies? How about the...
who's not out of this thing yet? You guys are going to think I'm nuts. The Padres. They're not out of this thing yet. There's a month to go. They've won 4 in a row. That was a good team I saw this weekend in San Diego. And I know everyone's saying, what's going on with the Padres? For Kyle Harrison, that's the best lineup he's going to face this year. With all those right-handed hitters with Machado and Soto is a left-hand hitter, obviously. But, yeah, that's a good team. And they spanked the Phillies tonight. And the Phillies are scary, Glenn, because they have resume. They were there last year. They had done that, and their lineup is scary. But their bullpen sucks. You got to have a good bullpen in October to win. And their starting pitching is just okay. So, I don't know. And the American League teams, Houston's always there. I don't know about the Orioles if they have enough experience for October baseball and they're just built for 162. I'm a National League guy, always will be, but the Braves and the Dodgers they're the cream of the crop. So I'd be shocked if one of those teams doesn't win the World Series this year. Let's just put it that way.
Don't forget the Phillies and I'm really going to start pulling for the Mariners, Seattle.
Yeah, they're playing well. I don't pay attention to Seattle. They're way up there. I know they've won all these games in a row, and they're a really good team. And one of my best friends is the assistant GM there. I still don't pay a lot of attention to the Mariners. I don't know why.
Hey, by the way, that nose segment that you did, were you doing that tongue-in-cheek?
Which one?
You picking your nose?
There might have been a little exaggeration there, Glenn. I'm not a big a nose picker as I did. It was just kind of a shtick, but I do have a nervous habit where I get to my nose a lot, and I have anxiety. And I'm not afraid to admit that I have anxiety. I work through it every single day. And part of being anxious is my finger goes to my nose a lot.
Thanks, FP.
Yeah, it's a sign, too. It's a steal sign whenever I pick my nose. So if you're around, steal something. Let's go to who's been waiting the longest? Craig in Arizona. He's mad at the Giants, it says right here.
Hello, my friend.
How you doing, Craig in Arizona?
Doing good. Another great night in northern Arizona. I think it's safe to say that the Giants have diarrhea.
Why do the Giants have diarrhea, Craig?
Diarrhea of analytics. You know, have I been living in a cave? Is there a great award in the MLB nowadays that whoever uses the best rookies gets this great award? You know, for Farhan and Kapler, you know, everybody just saying, oh, they're so great. They're nice guys. Well,
Craig,
Leo
I don't know what planet you're living on, but on my show, I haven't heard that once. It's the exact opposite.
Yeah, tonight.
No.
But Leo DeRocher
No, for a couple of months now. A couple of months now. I don't think I've gotten one call that says Farhan and Gabe are the nicest and great guys. I haven't. I mean, that's kind of the nature of the show, but I haven't. Not even a text that says they're really nice guys. They are. I know them. They are nice guys. They really are. I'll say it because I know them, but I don't think most Giants fans think that right now.
maybe they should go by the Alice Cooper song, "No More Mr. Nice Guy."
Yeah.
You know?
I think Gabe had a meeting yesterday, apparently, like a 26-minute meeting saying, let's be more aggressive. Let's have the F it attitude when we're up there, or the F you attitude, or whatever. It was bleeped out, so I don't know what he meant, but it's more like you have to pitch to me, I don't have to hit off of you attitude, and maybe have more swagger and confidence in the batter's box. And they did that tonight. They didn't have that same swagger and confidence on defense. And the bullpen seems gassed to me. I don't know. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't, but it seemed that way tonight.
Yeah, Farhan and Kapler, show me the wins, man. You know, this it's not working. I'm an experienced Yankee fan first, the American League. You know, Giants fan second. I'm born in the Bay Area, Vallejo. And with the analytics and Kapler's managing, I just kind of roll my eyes. If the Yankees were doing this stuff, I'd be totally pissed. But we got to sign Nick Bosa.
Got to sign Nick Bosa. Atta baby, Craig. I love it. And so there was a challenge in the game on Sunday late. It was the ninth inning. Patrick Bailey grounded out to shortstop, and Xander Bogaerts, Gabe Kapler thought his heels started on the grass. So it was a ground ball to short. He went to his left. He picked it up through the first. The Giants challenge, it went to New York. You saw the replays, and Bogaerts' heels weren't on the grass. But I don't know what they saw in New York. Maybe they started on the grass, and whenever the pitch was, his both feet were on the dirt. And then Gabe challenged it. And then Patrick Bailey went back up to the plate and got to hit again because New York ruled that Bogaerts. And I just thought, in all honesty, that was begging. At that point of the game, it was 4-0. They weren't hitting. And I was just like, I know you're battling to your last out. I get that. But if you're going to go that route, like that was a hard one. That seemed very desperate to me. Let's go to Chris in Brentwood. Chris, you're on KNBR. What's going on?
Yo, what up, FP? It's my first time calling the show.
Yeah, pour Chris a beer on a, what is it, Tuesday night. Yeah, Chris, here's your KNBR brew. We brew this with love right from the streets of, we brew this from the streets of Broadway.
A biohazard issue.
We have a biohazard issue. That's the name of our KNBR beer. It's called Biohazard Issue. That's the name of it.
Sounds like I need a life straw to drink that thing.
You do, dude. It's fine. You'll be fine. It's good for your liver.
Bro, as like a semi-pro sports bettor who listens to MLB at bat, like I check into all the games all the time, so I get a good take in of all the different announcers. Obviously, Krupp and Kipe are the number one. I don't think that's me being a homer, but I always enjoyed tuning into the Nats game when you were on. I honestly thought you were a really damn good color guy. So I just wanted to say that.
Thanks, Chris. I appreciate the kind words. I copied Kipe and Krug. I mean, I just do the game like they do because they're my heroes, and I learned from them.
I noticed that.
You keep it positive, and I use a lot of their stuff. And in broadcasting, we all take pieces from everybody. But you use your knowledge of the game, and then how you go into the crowd and your sense of humor. I got everything I owe to those guys, and I don't know if they want to be attributed to me, but thanks, Chris. They're the best in the business. They're awesome. But thank you for the kind words.
It was always hilarious listening. They weren't very great announcers, but it's definitely funny listening to the White Sox guys. They're such homers over the top.
Oh, I'm a homer, dude. Here's the thing. You got to realize how hard it is, and you got to know who your audience is. And 90% of the people that tune into whatever the home team is love the team. And I know there's some fans that would wish you'd be more critical, but the guys that are real critical of the team, they last about a year, and they're fired. Trust me, I would go to commercial breaks and the mic would be off. I'm like, what the F are we doing? Are you kidding me? But I can't say that on the air or I'm gone. So you just you find a way to keep it positive with keeping your credibility at the same time. And I learned from the best.
One thing that Krug and Kipe do that's really good, it's kind of a subtle thing. When I hear announcers talk about players by their first name or their nicknames, it's a little too much. But Krug and Kipe always they usually say last names, they're usually they keep it professional on that level. Obviously, they love the team, but I do like that. I don't know how we got here, but that's not the whole reason I called, but I wanted to props on that. And I was calling because I'm not so in touch that I know everything, but while listening to you talk, it sounds like the fan base is not too happy about Kapler, which I'm not surprised by. He wasn't that great in the Phillies as the manager, as you can see the way they boo him when he shows up. Don't you think catchers make the best managers?
Yeah, I know what you're getting to, but I don't think that catcher wants to do it. I think he's a family guy. I'm glad that he's back.
Are you talking Buster? I wasn't talking Buster.
I thought you were alluding to Buster. I think Buster would be
like a cigarette smoking catcher kind of guy, like a Bochy. You know what I mean? Like
I think Buster would be a great big league manager, but apparently he doesn't want to do it. So it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. It's super hard, and it's very stressful. So yeah, it takes a certain.
I know you got a lot of calls to get to, but I was just looking at your career numbers before I got on the phone, just for the heck of it. Like, hey, I'm talking to FP. Yeah, you had a really good WRC plus the last year with the Giants. It was like 118 or something. It was like a really good year, and then you just absolutely fell off the next year. What happened between those 2 years?
Because I signed with the Dodgers, Chris, and the mental side of the game, I hated it in LA. Like I literally hated it there. So yeah, I was a disgruntled employee, and maybe I just got old and the game sped up. I don't know, but I did have I had a nice year with the Giants. It was fun.
Yeah, you had a few good years, man. I appreciate you.
Yeah, Chris, thanks for calling, dude. I appreciate it. Don't be a stranger to the show.
I sign Nick Bosa, even though I'm down with him resting. I'm sure he's taking care of himself plenty, and he's going to be ready to go whenever that time
Sign
comes.
Nick Bosa. Chris, don't be a stranger to the show. Great stuff, dude.
All right, later.
Let's go to Craig in the Bay Area. He wants to talk about Farhan, and then we're going to go to break. Or end the show?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're going to.
Hey, FP, how are you, man?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Hey, Parts of Consciousness just had a quick question. What's it going to take to get Farhan out of the front office? And if I get your estimation, not that you want him gone, is he close to being removed? And then again, what's it going to take? What kind of – I mean, we've had 5 years. We don't have a single playoff series win. We've been to the playoffs all of one time in 5 years. We are a 500 team. I cannot sit here and defend him any longer. And again, I'm not saying you're promoting it, but consciousness wants to know.
Well, I'm not going to fire anybody on the air. I'll never do that. I don't want blood on my hands ever.
Fair.
No matter who it is, right? Like, we've all lost jobs, and that's a crappy thing to wish on anybody. So, like, if people call, and I've always said this, even I was fielding calls, Craig, in 2010 that wanted Bruce Bochy fired because the Giants lost 9 out of 10 in July that year, if you look it up. And I would say, that's fine if you want Boch fired, but who is your replacement? So if you want to call the show and say it sounds like you want Farhan fired, like who would be the replacement? So you can't just come on and say, I want this guy gone. Like you have to have somebody better in place. So do you have any ideas who you would want to run the Giants besides him?
I would, it's funny. I was actually one of those guys that was not a fan of Bochy early on. And it's interesting. I feel like once they gave him full reign and let him do his thing, he became a better manager, became more of a player's manager. Some guys to replace him, I'd gladly take Friedman from the. I'm not sure he'd leave the Dodgers, but I'd happily take him. I'd call up Billy Beane. I know people think it's crazy, but I'd happily take Billy Beane over Farhan. Farhan was one of his understudies. I just feel like we ran our course with him. I don't see. It's too much of the same thing. We constantly try and take too many value, and I think there has to be a balance between a team. Good contract ads, like our free agent ads this past year, were awful, and you have to have good ads there. You have to have a good complement of young players. You have to have good fines, on the waiver wire. It has to be a good nice balance of things. And I think we've missed there. I don't think we've hit on a lot of the free agent ads. And again, I'm just real disappointed. I would like a little bit better balance all across the board.
All fair points, Craig. I appreciate the call. Good stuff, man. Yeah, if the Giants hired Billy Beane and then you had Gabe Kapler as your manager, that's just way too much hotness. Like, literally, everybody's way too hot. Like, maybe you get Jimmy G in there somewhere as the assistant GM and then hire Brad Pitt as the assistant to the assistant GM. They just got like 4 hot dudes and you just oil them all up and do like a calendar and have like the GM calendar, then the manager calendar, like a firefighter calendar of the front office for the Giants. And then for sure they would win. 100% World Series or bust, baby. Crappy night, right? Let's hope they win tomorrow. Sleep fast, day game tomorrow. Get on the plane, come home. I don't know. There's games left. It's not over yet. I'm crazy optimistic in the sense that until there's an X by your name and you're eliminated, I don't give up. And that's the player in me. So like, it doesn't look good right now. They're 1 game over 500. What are they? 1 in 5 on this road trip. And this was a big road trip. This was the road trip. The Cubs are right in front of them. So, I don't know, win tomorrow. You got a day off on Thursday. And then hopefully a good weekend series coming up. You got the Rockies for 7 more. Maybe that's where you gain some ground. I don't know. I always said late in September if you're playing well into the playoffs, but it's starting to look like this is going to be a hard one to turn around. There's a lot of things going on that aren't good. The bullpen seems gassed to me. The defense wasn't good tonight. I don't know. Maybe it's just taking their toll on them. But there's a game tomorrow. That's a beautiful thing about baseball, and hopefully they win. Jacob, good job on the other side of the glass. Casey, thanks for the help answering the phones tonight. Your calls were awesome. You guys are passionate. I love you coming on the show and voicing your frustration. We're all frustrated right now. But there's a new game tomorrow, and hopefully the Giants win. I'll be back tomorrow night. I'm on 6 to 10 tomorrow night. Yeah, it's a day game tomorrow. So full show tomorrow, 4 hours. We'll have tons of guests for you. It'll be just like a 3-ring circus tomorrow night. Thanks for all your calls. And like I say on the way out every single night, swing hard in case you hit it on The Sports Leader.
Negative. It's just a biohazard issue. We've had a passenger who had diarrhea all the way through the airplane, so they want us to come back to Atlanta.